I know this backdrop isn't entirely all that sexy, and it is what it is though. Because it's next to the road, it's nature still. Motorcycle, what more do you need? Today, actually, one of the things that I want to talk about is just having good friends from my perspective. From the perspective of someone that's your age, if you're in your 20s or if you're younger than, because something that's helped me my entire life has been the friends that I've had. And I know you always have to be careful of who's trying to trick you or whatever, like people will snake you, people will try to get behind your back and get your girl. Like, all those things do exist. I'm not going to say that they don't, but I will tell you this, that without friends, there's not much that you can do. There's only so far you can go alone. Even without God, there's only so far that you can go. Now, I promised you that I'm not going to talk too much about God for the next few weeks, and that's fine. But when I talk about friends, there's something that I like for people to keep in mind. And that's usually like, yes, you need friends your age, people that match your energy levels. And I'm not talking about the girly, woo woo, spiritual energy types. I'm talking about energy in terms of your testosterone level, how active you are throughout the day. You need to have people that match that so that they can push you to do more, so that you can be in a competitive environment. I personally never really liked competitiveness until I realized how it pushes you as a person and your growth. No matter what you're doing, if you add competition that's not anything like school, like you're going to get a certificate for it, but is something between friends, like, I'm the stronger one. I benched more or I benched more reps than you. That type of competition usually tends to help. There is another aspect of having friends to shoot for friends that are slightly older than you. If you're 20, having friends that are mid 30s, late 30s, all the way to their 70s. If they're that age, they can actually help you have an enhanced experience of life altogether. You become a better person, you know what to do and what not to do. Because a lot of these people, you can find people that you want to be as an older person or that you see yourself as an older person, even as mentors. Some of them will always take a shine to you because they see some part of you in themselves and themselves in you, vice versa. That common ground, that mutual base that you have, it creates a rich environment for growth because they've been where you are. They know what it's like to somewhat be you, and they can always help you in terms of what you want to do in life. And I mean that sincerely because you can go out and make the mistakes that they made, for example, and have to learn it, but it was avoidable in the first place because you could have just asked them or just explain the situation. You can come up to them and say, here's what's happening, and I think this is how I should deal with it, and they'll guide you through it. And if you come up to them with a solution in mind, it means that you're not lazy. I've done this plenty of times. It's not like you're looking for a handout from them. You're there genuinely and sincerely looking for their advice on how to navigate your life. And they're there to help you. Older people want to invest in another person's life. And when you are on the receiving end of that, you cannot help but also end up being the giver. So whether it not be directly back to the older person that poured into your life, you will find yourself pouring into someone else's life. It's just the way it works. So, what those relationships teach you is how people actually just give and they invest in your life. They make you a better person. That's something that you don't want to miss out on just because someone's old or because you're shy. There's a lot of older men that want to help younger men because they're genuinely invested in the next generation. Our generation may seem very selfish, but the older generation was not. Like, they fought wars for us, they did a lot for us, even when we weren't even born, if you think about it. A lot of them were ready to risk their entire lives and livelihood just for us. On a grand scheme of things, for me to be sitting here and speaking to you guys, or standing rather, but for you guys to be there watching this, it's all a part of what they had to give up, and each and every one of them played a huge role in that. So if you find the right type of older person that can be a mentor for you, their life is straight, they're not alcoholics, they're not drug addicts, whatever. They are just looking, especially men, older men, their one purpose after a certain point in time, as far as I've seen and as far as I've heard from them, it's just how much they can give back to the next generation. Like, after they're retired, all they can think about is how can I help out the generation that's coming up? How can I make them better? And there are very genuine people out there, whether it be business owners, whether it be dirt bike drivers or whatever. There's always people that have been in the game long enough to help you make the most out of it. And if you don't want that, there's something wrong with you. I know I've always wanted it because what if I could live my life at the in my 20s like I was in my 30s? Like with the youth you have the wisdom, you have the intellect, you have the guidance of having been in your 30s or 40s. That's kind of what it is. It's like a head start to life. I explained this in one of my videos. It took them, let's say that's an 80-year timeline. It took them that long to gain their knowledge. And you're gaining this much knowledge in this much of time. So that ultimately puts you at like 100 years because you have your 20 years of experience plus their 80 years of experience, which puts you at a headshot of 100 years of experience altogether. Why would you not want to go out in life like that? Just a genuine question for you to understand. I'm not going to speak for the women because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I don't know what it's like to talk to older women either. So, but I can tell this for the men. It's just they're more sincere, they're more genuine. They don't care if you have like they'll care about your feelings. They will, but they will also tell you to suck it up at times because not everything is worth going into an abyss for just because you feel bad. Not all bad feelings require for you to hit an abyss and just be like, oh, but this happened. Like with girls, sometimes the girl just didn't work out, just pick up and leave. I don't know why a lot of people are there. It's like, oh, that girl, she was so good but we did this. It's like, but she isn't there anymore. I'll give you advice from my life. I've had multiple breakups and that's fine. I don't sweat over it. I didn't lose sleep over it. You can claim that I am heartless, but it's just one thing that I told all of the girls because they were shocked that I wasn't reacting. All I said to them was, I was who I was before you. I was who I was with you. And I am who I am now. Nothing's going to change. I was happy and my happiness was existent before you came into my life, and my happiness was there while I was with you, and my happiness is sure as hell gonna be there after you. So whether you're there or not in my life has no major impact because I was living life fine on my own before you. And that might be a rude awakening for girls, but my happiness doesn't depend on them. Their happiness does depend on us though. But you can't have yourself weighed down completely just because of a relationship in life. And I mean that because there's more to life. Why are you ruining your life because of some other person? They're carrying on, they're living their life. And what about you? You're upset, you're allowing someone else to ruin your life when your life is completely in your hands. That's the way I've always seen it. Even with your parents and your siblings, they're not responsible to wake you up. They're not responsible to make sure you get a job. They're not responsible for you to earn money. They're not responsible for you in terms of what you want to do in college. Otherwise, you end up living their life. Like, how much of our lives are wasted living someone else's narrative of our life? And how much of our life is spent simply just living what other people say? You can't smoke because your uncle will see you, or your mom and your dad. It's like, let them deal with it. Smoke cigars and pipes, of course. That's better tobacco. You can't get into that job. You can't start that business. You can't ride a motorcycle because someone will say something. Your uncle, your aunt, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your sibling. It's like, are you living your life for them or are you living your life for you? This might sound like worldly advice, but this is also something that God is trying to say. It's like, in everything that you do, at least honor me. When you honor me, I'll bless it completely. When you invite me into it, I'll bless it as much as I can. Unless it's harming someone else, there's no such thing as doing something that hurts someone else. If there's something that God puts into your heart, and I'm not going to get into theological debate, this is a very short video. If God puts something in your heart, if there's something in your heart is a heavy weight. It's like a pendulum. If it's or a wrecking ball, that weight, if it swings, it swings. There's no stopping that. No amount of force can stop that. It's entirely dependent on gravity and its weight or mass, whatever scientists would say. But it's there to just push. So sometimes that's why God puts things in your heart, because He knows you're capable. You're the only person that's going to care. Nobody else is waking up and caring for you. The way I see it, and I was explaining to one of my friends this way, specifically this way. You care about your college assignment, correct? You care about your side hustle. Do you care about the children that are currently dying in Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine? Not as much because it doesn't concern you. It has nothing to do with you. Your personal life isn't at stake much over there. Even though that's slightly heartless, I know it's a brutal reality, but you don't care about people who drop trash everywhere in the forest. You don't care about that cause as much, unless that's who you are. But besides the point, you're the only person that cares about your assignments. That's stress, that's anxiety, because it's your personal responsibility towards that. That's why you care. That's why stress and anxiety are indicators. If you become like a chick and you start saying, oh, I feel stress, I feel anxiety, then what are you on earth for? You want to go through life not feeling these things. I love it when I had it because it pushed me to finish my books. It pushed me to do a lot more. When I was doing manual labor for my dad and we had to put up cabins, the stress of not getting the project done on time is something that I said I would do. Is like, this job is going to be finished by the end of the day. The day is almost over, but there's still quite a lot of work to get done. I didn't stop until it was done. But that stress and anxiety is what created energy for me to get it done. I'm speaking from personal experience. Sometimes that's all you need to do. You just need to get out there and do it because you're the only person that cares about it enough. Nobody cares about my poetry books. Nobody would write them for me. I cared about them from the book to the inside editing, everything. I cared about them. Nobody else did. Not on my behalf. Only I did. Even with my Christian devotionals, nobody else cared about my books as much as I did. That's why they're done. Will they pay off later? Yes, because I'm going to start caring more about marketing and sales for those books to get them sold, to make sure that people can at least get the message out for whatever they make out of the poetry and whatever the basis of my Christian devotionals is, being redemption through relationship, not religion. When you think about what you want to do in life, understand that you're the only person that cares. Nobody wants a McLaren for you. Nobody wants a Koenigsegg for you. Nobody wants a Ferrari for you. Nobody wants a Harley. Nobody wants a Ducati for you. Some people can wish it genuinely upon you. It only lasts for a mere moment. You're the only person with the consistent investment of wanting it. And that desire is what should drive you forward to actually put your work in to do that. It's like the difference between a wild horse and a tamed horse. Tame horse has to do what someone else tells it to do. It's trained, and eventually over a course of time, all it has to do is just listen to the person that is its handler or whatever, or wrangler. And then you have the wild horse and it goes wherever it desires. It wants to do whatever it wants to do. Nobody is stopping it. It just goes wherever it wants to. It eats wild grass, it drinks water wherever it wants to, and it lives an amazing life. Why would you let someone else's chains tie you down? Are you that submissive to other people that it's like, oh, those chains are wrapping you up? Well, why don't you cross it over and loop it around my hands and tie it down so we can be chained together? You do that because you're listening to people that are chained themselves, and they may be good. They may be. I'm not going to say anything bad because sometimes they genuinely don't know anything other in life than what they're used to in terms of chains. But you do. That's why you're watching this video, because you know there's something out there for you. And I'm not saying it in a generic way. All of these things come at a certain time for you, and you're the only person that's invested in it. I'm invested in business. Right now, I don't have a business other than the fact that I'm selling books. I'm trying to get a clothing company. I'm trying to get my way into business. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not there yet, but I am learning about it every day consistently. I work on ways, I think about ways of marketing my books so I can learn how to market other things as well. Because I think, in my personal understanding of it, if I can market books, I can practically market anything. If I can make people want to read a book, then you can practically make anybody want to read anything else or buy anything else. But that's besides the point. I'm trying to get into business. And one of these days, in the coming years, you'll see me as a business owner. You'll see me with a videography team. You'll see more highly production based videos, even though it's going to be raw content. You'll see someone else managing my shorts for me because I'm putting the work in to at least try and own a business. That's why I'm telling you, the only reason you're listening to this is because we're like minded people. And I want the best for you. If you watch my videos, I want the best for you. I want God to bless you. I want you to have a healthy relationship with God. I want you to have a healthy relationship with the people in your life. I want you to have mentors that you can look up to. I want a richer experience for you to live life. That's why people invested so much in innovation for the past few centuries. It's for the next generation. They pour out consistently. Why do people plant trees? Because wherever there is deforestation happening, people plant more trees. They're like, at least let the next generation experience this environment. I want this for you. I'd want more of you on YouTube or wherever just doing this stuff. Enjoy dirt biking. This is not even my bike. This is my friend's bike. He just lets me drive it whenever I want to. He took me to the mountains just because he wanted to. And he's older than me. So you need that richer experience of life. Trust me. Stay blessed, people.